guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a little bit of a follow-up to some questions that I've been asked about our screen time rules and how we handle technology and screens in our home, in our homeschool, because this doesn't just apply to homeschooling, but just kind of like our family rules and perspective on screen time. I also, in this video, will be touching on how we do use screens in our homeschool. So a little bit about like our kind of thoughts about screens in general and technology and how we allow them to be used in our home by our different aged children and all of those things. And so before we jump in, I do want to share that today's video is part of a collaboration hosted by Abby over at Rooted in Rest and Jess from the Waldock Way. So if you are unfamiliar with either of them, they will be linked down below, both of their channels as well as the playlist to hear how other moms use technology in their homeschools. Well, today I just want to say before jumping in that every family is different. We have different family dynamics and cultures and histories and pasts and goals and different age children, different personalities of children, and different strengths and weaknesses in both ourselves, our families, and our children. And so if we do not see eye to eye on any topic that I share about on my channel, that is okay. I'm definitely open to discussion on any of it as long as we are not like judging one another or deciding or saying that like our way is the best way. Just want to throw that out there. I luckily have not experienced a ton of that, but I just want to preface this video because I feel like screen time has become kind of a hot button topic in some ways. And so I just don't want it to go there. Definitely open to open discussions, but yeah. So anyways, I also want to say that it is okay to change your mind. So it is okay to have a certain perspective or certain habits or whatever it may be around screens and then change your mind for whatever reason, whether it be because something happened, because you felt a tug on your heart, because you just decided it wasn't working. And it doesn't really matter what other people think other than maybe your spouse and the Lord. And so my perspective is if I feel a tug from the Lord, it's usually something I go to my husband about and we kind of work through it together and then make changes or not accordingly. And so I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my personal journey with screen time and all things technology with my own children and kind of where we're at now. This is like the longest intro, I know, but I'm trying to like get us on the same page. If you saw my most recent Q&A video or videos, because it was 2-part, in one of those, I think it was the first one, I talked about discipline. So it wasn't anything about screen time, but I gave the example of like phone usage as a discipline example for my oldest child who is 15. And I explained a little bit about why he has a phone, why we decided when we decided it, what the parameters were in general around the phone. So I'll just recap that as well in case you missed that video so you don't have to go back and watch it unless you want to. And then ironically, and I feel like this is the way the Lord works sometimes, right after that video posted, we made a change. And so I also wanted to share that. And I've kind of waited and prayed about what to share because I want to respect my children's privacy and have decided that there's a way to speak generally about things without not respecting my children's privacy. I wanted to share a little bit, just a recap of the phone situation, but then also like it will circle back in time a little bit for how we've made changes over the years and where we've landed with technology and screens in our home. So first, just backtracking a little bit, about a month, I shared that our oldest son, 15, has a phone. And the reason why we got him a phone was because we have a hard situation, without getting into a ton of detail, where my 3 oldest children go to their fathers and we needed a way for him to be able to contact us directly and for us to be able to contact him directly. And so we decided that we would get him a phone. There were many parameters around it, no internet, no able to download apps, many things like that, screen time, like other than being able to contact us or him contact like close family members, screen time ended at a certain time, like there was a curfew on it, no phone upstairs, no phone in his bedroom. So lots of different things in place. And in many ways it worked really well. And in other ways, I wasn't fully comfortable with it still. And so there was quite a while where we would talk about screen time, and there was screen time limits, but we would talk about screen time and talk about like when is an appropriate time to have your phone out, and let's just have a day or some time where like you're not touching your phone at all, and just like seeing those habits that are just natural. I feel like, unfortunately, in this day and age when you have a phone, like I struggle with it myself and I make excuses, and I know that it's different. I do believe it's different with me being an adult, because I do have like social media that I do, and I have my banking on my phone, and I order groceries on my phone and Amazon, and like a lot of things that actually keep our family running, I do on my phone. So anyways, I struggle with being a good example of phone usage. And although I try to explain to my children that I'm using it for a variety of different reasons that keep our family functioning, it still does look like me on my phone. So as a side note, I will say that is something that I am continuing to try to navigate better. However, I started to see some things that I wasn't comfortable with. And my husband and I recently decided to take the phone away. This was not an easy choice. So for whatever reason, it's like a thing parents can't do, take the phone away. Now, we had not had an issue doing it like short term. You know what, no phone today, or something happened, we're gonna take away the phone for a few days. We didn't have to do that very often, but we didn't really struggle with doing it. But as far as this indefinite, you're not going to have a phone unless it is you going somewhere where you need to be able to contact us and we need to be able to contact you, we don't want you to have a phone. And it was hard for him in the beginning. And he did ask when he was getting it back a few times in the beginning and things like that. But he has completely stopped asking about the phone. Like, has completely stopped asking, has stopped mentioning it in passing. And he has started to dive back into things that he loves and then new interests more deeply, being more creative, more inventive, more excited, I feel like, about life. And I'm not talking about a kid that was allowed to be on his phone all the time. I'm not talking about a kid that had access to TikTok. I'm not talking about having games on his phone. None of that. And so it just confirmed to me like, ooh, like I really don't want to give him the phone back. I'm seeing nothing but positive results of him not having this device on his person or like at his disposal whenever he wants. And I mean, barring, like I said, like meal times, you're not going to your room with it, curfews and all of the things, but still it being like my phone, like that thing that a lot of us have that I didn't want him to have, that I felt like was robbing him of a lot. And so we have made that change. And so what I wanted to share with you is like, it's never too late to change your mind. Like, you're the parent and they may not like it, but I didn't want to look back and feel like, I wish I didn't allow the phone thing. I found myself thinking to myself, I'm not doing this with my next one. And then it was like, there was like a resolve in me, or like I had just settled to be like, yeah, I don't really like this. I'm not doing this next time. And then it was like, no, like it doesn't have to be, I'm not doing this next time. It can just be like, I'm not doing this anymore this time. And so it took me a minute to get there, but I just want to encourage you that if like you're not feeling comfortable with the usage, remove it, change it, pray about it. Ask the Lord to show you, like, is this something you're putting on my heart? Are you tugging on me to pay attention to this, to change something, to check into things? Right? And so I just want to encourage you that you can make the changes. Many years ago, we had made a compromise that the kids could have like a very little amount of video games. Neither myself nor my husband like video games at all. Like, hate them. I hate video games. Let's just be honest. I hate them. Sorry if you like them. Hate them. for so many reasons. I mean, as a side note, they employ behavioral specialists to create the games, like specialists in addiction, to actually purposefully make the games addicting to children. So that alone is enough for me. Same thing with many children's shows, which I'll talk about in a minute. I admittedly have a very strong opinion about screens, so I'm just trying to like prepare you for that. It was like a half hour. They would be able to go on like 20 minutes or a half hour, and not every single day. And I did not like it. It was like, if I do this, can I go on the game more? Can I just have 5 more minutes? And like, there was always this focus on the game. And I had said to my husband, like, I don't like this. And he's more radical than me, like in the immediate moment where I'm more of like an overthinker and analyzer and like all the things. He's like, then we'll get rid of it. And I was like, do you think maybe we should just like change it? Like, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna box it all up and we'll get rid of it if you don't like it and you don't feel comfortable with it. And I was like, okay. And he did. And the kids weren't like excited about it. But again, the same thing like with the phone, they stopped asking about it. And we've never looked back. It's been years, like probably 4 years at this point. We do not have video games. We don't have computer games. We don't have games on a tablet. We don't have a video game console. Like, we don't own it. We're not going to own it. I don't think that will ever change. Like, I'm pretty positive that will never ever change. So that happened. We do not allow our kids to just turn on the TV and start watching TV. Like, we are not a TV family. I'm gonna explain to you why we even have TV in a minute here. But it's not, we don't have a family culture of turning on the TV. I really don't enjoy TV. The noise agitates me. There's a lot of research about why it's not good for children, especially young children. There are so many reasons. I might need to do a whole other video about why I don't like TV, because there are many layers to it. But what I will say is how we use it. So we watch a lot of worship on our TV, and so we'll do worship either in the morning or at night. It's not a daily thing. There were seasons where it was. We like to do a family movie every once in a while, like a pure God-honoring family movie that is not full of garbage. That's just like where we stand. We don't read garbage books. We don't watch garbage TV. Like, if it is not something we want our children to emulate, we don't read it or watch it or do it. So that's kind of where I stand with that. We'll watch worship on it. We will, every great once in a while, watch like an educational documentary or like the movie to a book that we read or something like that. Or we will look up like a YouTube video on learning something we're interested in, every great once in a while, like great once in a while. We just recently actually started using it a little bit more, which is interesting because I do have such strong convictions about screens. We have recently gotten a subscription to World Watch News, which is something I've been eyeing for quite a while. And I actually thought it would be really good, especially for my older 2 boys and being critical thinkers and knowing what's going on in the world, but knowing from a biblical worldview. It is 10 minutes a day. So they are 10-minute episodes. There's a news episodes from a Christian worldview geared towards children. And we do watch 10 minutes of a day of that. I pull it up on my phone and I actually screencast it. And they so look forward to it. Like, they ask, are we going to watch World Watch? We have to watch World Watch. So they really love it. And that's the bulk of how we use it, is through screencasting. So I'll screencast a lot of my teacher's guides, especially if they are ones that have visuals that I want the kids to see without having to hold it up or pass it around. If it's something that I want the older boys and even sometimes my 7-year-old to take turns reading, it's nice to have it there because I don't have to pass it around. If it's something I don't want to print at all, I will just screencast it to the TV. So that is another way that we utilize the TV. We do not utilize it for like the common TV watching or even regular movie watching, really. We may watch a family movie once a week. That's about it. There are no like, oh, we each have shows. Like, my 4-year-old's not like, I want to watch my show. Now, there was a season where I was working, and my grandmother, who is amazing, she's probably going to watch this video, and I love you so much, and you're amazing, and I don't know what I would do without you, but she would let him watch like 1 or 2 shows. And we agreed for the most part to allow him to do that. But again, it became that focus of like, I want to watch my 1 show. I get to watch 1 show. Like, can I watch 1 more? And like, there was all of this behavior and conversation surrounding the show. And I was like, forget about the show thing. We're not doing the show anymore. And furthermore, the shows that you were watching were not what you would think would be bad shows. They were geared towards kids. They were kids programming. But when you start to research the bright colors, the screen changes in less than 4 seconds repeatedly, the multiple sensory things happening, like scene changes, colors flashing, something spinning, music going, characters talking, it is overstimulating and super damaging to the developing brain, causes behavioral problems and all kinds of issues. And I did see behavior changes in him from that. And I know some kids will be more sensitive to this than others, and I feel like he was hypersensitive to having screens. And so I was like, nope, we're done. We're not doing that anymore. So we don't do that at all anymore. It's been at least a year, probably more, since we've made that change. I'm trying to think if there's any other way. Oh, my boys do watch their math videos. So my older son does Saxon math with the addition of Nicole the math lady to have the math videos. He watches those on my laptop. We have 1 laptop. It is not like for use for whatever they want. It is like, here's the laptop to do your math. And then the same for my younger son, my 11-year-old, who watches his math videos that come with his The Good and the Beautiful math curriculum. And it works really well. I really like them having those video lessons because I am not strong in math. And so I feel like it's helpful for them to have access to that. We also do audiobooks from my phone. So that's another way that I guess that we use screens or technology. They are not doing it or holding my phone or anything like that. I am putting it on and letting it play. But that's another way that we do really love using a device, because it gives me a break from reading and them a break from reading. And it's just kind of like a nice way for us to do read aloud, so to speak, when our mouths are dry and our throats are dry, but like we're still okay to keep going with school, essentially. There are a handful of other ways that we have used screens that I am not completely opposed to. We just haven't been doing them because I feel like little bits of screens here and there and over here and over there, put them together and you now have a lot of screen time again. But ways that I have enjoyed or felt comfortable with using screens are like The Good and the Beautiful has like these really short, sweet, simple science videos for kids about like chickens and like different things like that. Or they have these really cool like stretching stories where they like tell a story and they stretch with the kids. That was really cute. They have audiobooks that are like, you know, you see the book turning and like you see the book on screen, and it's an audiobook that also has the visual of the book. We've done that in the past. I am not against those things. I think those are actually like quality screen time, but even quality screen time I feel like can become too much. So if I have 5 children and I allow a certain amount of screen time for each of them, that means that we have screens going quite a bit. And so anywhere where I can limit that, I tend to do that, and I'm very selective about where I allow it. And so hopefully that gives you an idea of where we've come, changes that we've made, where we stand, and sort of where we're going with using screens, either in our homeschool or just in our family and with our children in general. I don't foresee many changes in the upcoming future. One thing that I think I may do, if and when I decide to get a phone for my 11-year-old, which will not be for years, mind you, is I may end up going with a Gab phone for him. That is one thing that I had wished I had done differently. I searched for something like the Gab phone when I was getting my oldest son his phone, and for whatever reason, I didn't come across it. And when I did, I was like, man, I wish I would have gotten that for him. I really think that they are a wonderful option if they are needing that device for like safety reasons. So yeah, One thing that I did like about having like a super locked down iPhone versus a Gab phone, or there were certain apps like GroupMe for him to like be able to communicate with his leadership program that he does through our church. I struggle with how many things geared towards youth do require technology and apps and things. And so that's kind of like a thing that I struggle with a little bit. So I haven't quite figured out how to navigate that, whether I'm going to maybe put it on my phone so I can give him updates. Still figuring out some of those details. I also liked how he did have the Bible app on his phone. So he could read the Bible, he could pick Bible studies and go through them on his phone, which he did actually do actively. So that was kind of tough for me because I would be like, well, he does do this, but for me, the pros weren't outweighing the cons that I was seeing and kind of what I was feeling in my mama heart. And so you can read the physical Bible and you can read a devotion book and it's less screen time. And so that is where we stand. Let me know if we have things in common, if you have questions, if you want me to clarify something or give you more information about anything that I shared today. If you're new here or you're visiting from one of the other channels in this playlist, I would love if you would subscribe, stick around. I share all kinds of things on my channel, from homeschooling, motherhood, faith, family life, curriculum, lots of things here, and over on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, you can follow me there at rooted_homelife. If you're new here, definitely say hello. I love to get to know you guys. Sometimes I miss comments or I forget completely to respond to comments on like a random video, but I try to do my best and always reach out a second time if you're not getting an answer. I'm never like intentionally not answering anyone. I try to say that every once in a while because I wouldn't want anyone to ever feel that way, but sometimes it just gets overwhelming to keep up here and on Instagram and all the things, and I have to keep my priorities with my screen time straight as well. So anyways, if you have not checked out the playlist or Abby's or Jess's channels, definitely check them out down below. And I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos. And until next time, stay rooted.